Right, YouTube, we should be back. We should be back. Yeah. You all hearing me well? Am I good over there? Am I good? Am I good? Are we good? Are you hearing me? How close to our shores did the incident take place? I believe it was something like 65 kilometers. Or was it miles? 65 miles or 65 kilometers, one out of the two. One out of the two of them. And not that far. This is why I like my map, you know. You're still here, right? I'm not getting any responses. Yeah, that's why I like my map. I like my map up because you know you could really get a picture of how it is, what's going on. What we even talking about? We talking about the attack on the Venezuelan vessel. That's what Otis asked about right before I froze. How close to our shores did the incident take place? It was like 65 kilometers, not that far away. Right there to the northwest. It's like if you think about it, if you're running across the Bocas, that's the northern part of Trinidad. You're running across the Bocas instead of cutting in by down the islands, the smaller islands, the small islands there. If you were to run straight across the top of Trinidad and keep going west, you would run into Venezuelan waters, and it was in that trajectory. In that trajectory, across the top of Venezuela, the town that the boat left from was from the top of Venezuela. That boat left there, and it seemed like it was headed in a kind of easterly direction when one of those vessels in and around the area dealt with his matters. That's what it seems like. Now, on top of that, Maduro been showing out because after airstrike, the Venezuelan town was flooded by military. But then, even after that, where's that article? I thought I had that up. There were F-16 Venezuelan, right. On Thursday night, 2 Venezuelan F-16 fighter jets flew over the U.S. Navy destroyer, the USS Jason Dunham. Nathan, I believe that was migrants heading to Trinidad. Nah, I don't believe that. I actually don't believe there was migrants heading to Trinidad, because migrants headed to Trinidad almost surely would have had women and children aboard. Would have almost surely had women and children on board. Yeah, almost surely would have had women and children. Nathan, no drug would come with 11 people on board. That's real speed. I don't know. I don't know. I don't deal in the shipment. But according to what it is they're transporting, I don't doubt that they had drugs. I just don't doubt it. And I think the drugs, you don't need to lie about that. I don't think that's a necessary lie. I believe they would have had drugs. I don't think that a bunch of men are just magically looking to migrate without their family like that. You think 11 men from one town, 11 men who know each other from one town were just going to ups and leave their families and migrate to Trinidad. I don't think that was a migrant vessel. I just don't think so. I think women and children would have been necessary if that was a migrant vessel. I just don't think so. But yeah, Venezuela, they buzz past some of the one of the US destroyers out there. That is an acceleration of the thing. With their F-16s. The US, I don't think it was in response to that because they moved their fighter jets before. Trump sends stealth jets as Caribbean tensions rise. The United States has ordered the deployment of strike jets to a Puerto Rico airfield as part of intensified operations against drug cartels in the southern Caribbean. Sources say the move adds significant firepower to an already robust U.S. military presence in the region and has heightened tensions with Venezuela. And I am reasonably certain we don't even know all of the military equipment in and around the region. It's like, when it comes to those kind of wars, if it's an air fight business, Venezuela isn't lasting a day. But if you're talking about touchdown on the ground and actually go into that Venezuelan jungle and make a change, I don't think you'd have much headway. But I don't want to see any air fights in and around our airspace. That doesn't sound like something where Trinidad will be very safe with. And the destroyer that they buzzed past, I believe I saw on a map where they were showing where the different destroyers are located. I think that destroyer is the closest one to Trinidad and Tobago. So, I mean, that doesn't seem like a very good idea to me. Emergency CELAC meeting, TNT only CARICOM nation to back U.S. president's presence in region. TNT was the sole CARICOM member to back the United States military presence in the region at an emergency meeting of the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States. Foreign and CARICOM Affairs Minister Sean Sobers said yesterday that CELAC requested a meeting on Monday and sought to draft a communique on behalf of all members condemning the U.S. military presence in the Caribbean. Essentially, what the communique was saying is that the presence of the U.S. within the region, the military presence, could cause instability and it could be a threat against essentially regional security, Sobers said. He added they were saying it goes against the tenets of CELAC, which is about disarmament of nuclear weapons and keeping our region of peace and stability. However, he said, TNT, along with some Latin American countries, objected. We said, listen, we're not in support of that, and we are not in support for these reasons. Explaining the reasons for this country's objection, Sobers said, we support all those things, region of peace, stability, but there's no evidence to suggest that the U.S. intervention against transnational crime will destabilize regional security. There's no evidence to suggest that U.S. intervention against transnational crime would cause the region to be a region that does not hold true to the tenets of peace. Asked which other countries shared similar sentiments, Sobers said Argentina, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Paraguay, Peru, Panama, and Costa Rica. Even though Rubio said they are going to war, do you think this war will have mass casualties, like to go to ground warfare? I don't think so. I don't know. But I don't think so. China, India, Russia has formed their alliance. Trump wishes them well, siding with dark China. Okay, I'm not sure that's 100% so, but okay. It's according even what the US is doing now. If the US bombs what could arguably all be called cartel drug boats, similar to the last one they bombed. Like, I mean, we can argue whether it indeed was carrying drugs or something as such. But if you're running 4 200 horsepower motors, we figure you're looking to outrun somebody. So if the US continues doing that, what would Venezuela's response be? What could Venezuela's response be? If Venezuela sends an F-16 and it bombs a US destroyer or attempts to fire at a US destroyer, over the destroyer destroying a drug boat, then you're leaning fully into the accusation the US is lobbying against you. How would it look if you are defending what is arguably clearly drug boats? Well, an alleged drug boat, yes, Abdul, but I said can plausibly be considered as such. For 200 horsepower engines, Abdul, it's a smuggling boat. Like, even if you don't think it's for drugs, it's clearly a smuggling boat. And they weren't smuggling women and children across because there were no women and children on board. And I believe it was Trump that spoke about hearing what they were talking about. I wouldn't doubt, and that's why I think it's unwise to dive in like some people held on to the AI accusations like they were so sure about it, and now you have egg on your face because it's obvious that's wrong. So pleasure craft, Abdul, pleasure craft. So I wouldn't bank on the idea that this isn't a drug boat, and then you see in a week time they release the audio and video package they had on it, and the men were discussing exactly how much and where it was going. Like that's not an argument I would go down on, because it just doesn't seem plausible to me. It seems very plausible. Right, Abdul, correct. So it would be an argument about you can't do this to our citizens. Correct. But nonetheless, it's going to look like you're playing directly into the accusations they're levying at you. You are in narco state because now that we are bothering the narco boats, you want to attack us for it. Why not intercept the vessel? Because they labeled them terrorists. And it is way more expensive to intercept, capture, unload, charge, and put to trial. Will this affect us, Nathan? 100%. 100%, of course it will affect us. I don't necessarily know how that effect and effect will show itself, but of course it would affect us. We are very close. Even if they are doing what they're saying they're doing and they are stopping drugs, then we're going to get less drugs and we're going to get whatever that effect is. If they are causing instability in Venezuela will have effect in Trinidad and Tobago, so we're going to get that effect. Recent history has shown CIA making fake IS propaganda videos, so who do we believe? Well, when it comes to faking it, there's no way you could believe anything in that sense. Who are we going to believe at all? There's no way to know for sure. And I have no doubt that the US can and will be involved in all kind of very reprehensible activities. That still doesn't change the idea that I wouldn't be surprised if indeed it was a drug boat that the US bombed. And it also doesn't change the idea of how it would look if Venezuela begins a war over defending what is considered drug boats. If Venezuela launches an offensive attack on any one of the destroyers, and all the destroyers do is shoot smuggling boats, whether they have drugs or not, that's going to look like Venezuela is attempting to defend their drug trade. That's what it's going to look like. And especially if this is a calculated move where the aim is to stoke so much fear in the hearts of the smugglers that no one attempts to leave anymore, and all you have to do now is remain in position with the threat out there, people knowing the threat is that you will shoot them and you have done it before. So now that threat is enough to ground all the boats. And if that indeed is, as some say, 10% of the current Venezuelan income, that could get Venezuela desperate. And if Venezuela takes desperate action over drug enforcement, they're going to look a certain way. And yes, I understand many people are saying they don't believe it's all about drugs, but that is ostensibly the reason. It is the reason proffered. It's the reason said. So until we see otherwise, it's the reason that will be reported as. And if you take strong action against them until something else happens, that's all it's looking like. You're looking like you're trying to defend your drug trade. Here's a question. Do you all believe that the Venezuelan state is involved in the narco trade? Do you believe that? I'm not asking whether you believe the US are good people, whether you believe the US has our best interest at heart, whether you believe they care a lick about stopping drug trade, and that's not what I'm asking. Do you think the Venezuelan state is involved in the narco trade? For me, I would say yes. I'm not saying Venezuelans, Abdul. Venezuelan state. As in official government actors are facilitating this. I believe so, and here's why I believe so. Because many embargoed and sanctioned countries do the same thing. I'm not talking about evidence. Evidence is proof. I'm asking whether you believe so, whether you think so. And I'm giving you why I think so. I don't have evidence. There's no way I am in the position to have evidence of this. The evidence that they have, that they suggest, is that they have intercepted numerous communication showing the Venezuelan government facilitating this. They have troves of information showing the communication as that. If you're interested in looking at that evidence, I could show you some of the links and we could talk about that otherwise. But there's no way to say that evidence is for sure. If I say that's the evidence, people would say they don't believe that. They don't believe the evidence that the US puts out there, which is fine. I'm not even discussing the evidence to prove something because they aren't looking to put them in court in case we didn't notice. I am saying it's clear to see all over the world that many pariah states get themselves involved in the drug trade because it's an easy way to make money. Yes, Mav, correct. There have been numerous informants. I am not talking about major player, Abdul. I didn't ask if they're the major player, if they are a major player. I asked if they are involved. And here's the thing. I think they are. It's like the point I was making about our Muslim brother currently seeing trouble in Tetron barracks. Like, I think, this is my opinion. Disclaimer, opinion. But I think the government is victimizing the brother. From all the evidence I can see from the news I look at, it seems like there is some victimization going on there. I don't know why, but it seems so. But if you ask me if I think the man, my opinion, if in my opinion I think the man may have been involved in some less than above board activities, I'd say, yeah, I think he was. I do not think the guy is an angel. I don't think so. But do I think they are victimizing him? Yes. So do I think that the United States has way more vested interest than just looking out for the pipers and the druggies out there? Of course. I don't think it's just about drugs and wanting to stop the drugs. But I also don't think that Venezuela is an innocent player in the whole thing. Since I believe some of the evidence was collected since under Obama. Obama's national intelligence group already collected the alleged intelligence to show that the Venezuelan government has been involved in narco trade. So why would we not believe it? Why would we not believe it? Obama, yes, Obama, himself. All right, people, looking like we'd have to end short tonight. Is a worldwide thing and it involving a lot of governments. Yes. There are governments trading in the drugs, obviously. There are billions to be made and governments need billions to run. It's alleged that North Korea trades in drugs. It's alleged North Korea and China deals in hackers as well as Russia. And listen, I'm talking about US pushing out this thing, so I don't doubt that the US engages in the drugs too. Hollywood has made movies showing the CIA's part played in the drug trade, so it wouldn't be a surprise there. It really would not. Alright, people, that's all I have for now. Some technical difficulties there I have to run. I'll see you guys again for the next Mindful Live. That's going to be Monday. You reach real late and you reach real late. I'm heading out there now. Until the next one, people, hold it down. Stay good, stay well, stay inside, stay safe. Outside sketchy. Get somebody nice child, make them your spouse, and make some Trini babies and help you out. Help Trinidad beat Jamaica, yeah. So if they touch touch Venezuela, touch Mexico first. Ha-hi! Now that's a whole can of worms. And did you see the fight inside of the Mexican parliament? When they suggested that inside the Mexican Congress, there was a physical fight over the suggestion of US military assistance against the cartels. So, who knows how that will go? All right, people.